Battle Beast, originally known as Thragg, was once a protector of his home planet. In his early days, he was a noble warrior who fought to defend his people. However, something within him changed. The thrill of battle became an obsession. Defending the weak no longer satisfied him. He craved stronger enemies, greater challenges, and the pure ecstasy of combat. His relentless hunger for worthy fights led him down a dark path. He abandoned his home, forsaking any duty beyond the battlefield. Battle was no longer a means to an end. It was the end itself. He became a wandering warrior, challenging and annihilating anything that failed to satisfy his thirst for a true challenge. His reputation spread across the galaxy, and his name became legend among warlords and conquerors. At some point, Battle Beast was captured and enslaved by the Viltrumites, the near-invincible conquerors of the universe. Rather than being broken, he was entertained by the idea of facing powerful foes. He was eventually sold to Machine Head, a crime boss on Earth who used him as an enforcer. However, when the fight against Invincible and Titan proved too easy, unimpressed by their weakness, claiming that they have nothing to offer him, and killing them would be a pathetic waste of his time, Battle Beast simply walked away. After leaving Earth, Battle Beast was imprisoned by a race conquered by the Viltrumites. Alan the alien started a prison riot to rescue Nolan and ended up freeing Battle Beast. Battle Beast offered his aid to Alan only because it would satisfy his lust for battle, and their two goals no longer coincide, to which Alan gladly agreed to. Just then, an unknown alien race stood in front, both warriors demanding that they stop. Battle Beast and Alan ignored the aliens' warning and attacked anyway, with Alan urging that they keep fighting to get to the execution room before Nolan is killed. Battle Beast responds that Alan does not command him and will only help because it brings conflict. Nolan is seen in the execution room, being beaten by two Viltrumites. They express regret, acknowledging that he was once their hero. Unmoved, Nolan tells them to finish the execution. As the second Viltrumite speaks, Alan and Battle Beast suddenly break in, disrupting the ritual. The Viltrumites, enraged, demand to know who dares interrupt a sacred Viltrumite execution. But for the first time, the name Viltrumite, a word that instills fear across the galaxy, loses its power. Instead of fear, it ignites excitement in Battle Beast, who relishes the thought of facing their legendary strength. Battle Beast then grabs one of the Viltrumites, his eyes burning with anticipation. He demands to know if they are truly the legendary conquerors feared across the universe, urging them to fight him at once. Nolan, still waiting for Alan to free him, watches in surprise and confusion, unable to comprehend Battle Beast's sudden enthusiasm. Seeing this, Alan reassures him, explaining that Battle Beast is, in fact, an ally, albeit an unpredictable one. Hearing this, Nolan relaxes slightly, acknowledging that, despite his wild nature, they will need Battle Beast for the fight. Battle Beast then engages one of the Viltrumites, not out of any sense of duty to Alan or Nolan, but simply because he relishes the thrill of battle. His fight rages on, a brutal clash of strength and savagery, while Alan and Nolan turn their attention to the remaining Viltrumite and the army of superpowered prison guards. As the battle intensifies, Alan devises a bold strategy. Knowing that Viltrumites and himself can survive in space, but the prison guards cannot, he unleashes a devastating punch, striking the station with such force that its entire structural integrity is compromised. The impact tears open the station, exposing its interior to the vacuum of space. Chaos erupts as the guards, unable to survive without oxygen, are violently pulled into the void, suffocating one by one. As Alan the alien is momentarily distracted, caught up in his own brilliance, he is suddenly attacked by a Viltrumite, enraged and determined to kill him for what he has done. Before the attack can land, Nolan intervenes, delivering a devastating punch that sends the Viltrumite hurtling away. Without hesitation, the two then strike together, finishing the Viltrumite off with a single, powerful blow. Both Nolan and Alan are left stunned, briefly questioning just how strong the Unipin truly is. Nolan and Alan then begin to wonder where Battle Beast is, realizing they haven't seen him since Alan punched a hole in the spaceship. Alan, puzzled, starts to question whether Battle Beast simply ran away, unsure if the warrior had abandoned the fight or was still lost in battle somewhere. Meanwhile, it is revealed that Battle Beast hasn't run away after all. Instead, he is still locked in combat with the second Viltrumite, bloodied but relentless, begging for more, a brutal display of his insatiable thirst for battle. Back with Nolan and Alan begins to worry, realizing that all of Nolan's scanned books are still on the ship. He doubts he has time to retrieve them, knowing that Viltrumite reinforcements could arrive at any moment. However, Nolan remains unfazed, assuring Alan to take his time, confidently stating that no reinforcements will come. We then learn that the Viltrumite numbers are severely limited, so much so that they could only spare the minimum number of agents required by law for an execution. In reality, fewer than 50 full-blooded Viltrumites remain in the entire universe. Realizing this, Nolan sees an opportunity. With this secret now exposed, he believes that they can truly defeat the Viltrumites. Later, in issue 73, the Coalition of Planets search party arrive at the ruins where Battle Beast, Alan and Nolan fought the Viltrumites. Amid the wreckage, they discover the remains of the Viltrumite who battled Battle Beast, his body torn in half. As they scan the area, they come across something unexpected. Locking onto the object and bringing it aboard, they uncover Battle Beast, frozen in space yet still semi-conscious, muttering as if begging for more. Presumably, more battle. The next time we see Battle Beast is in issue 75. Thaddeus is shown learning of the Viltrumite Empire's weakness and how its grip over countless worlds is slipping. In the absence of their Viltrumite rulers, many of the once conquered empires are now switching sides. We then see Battle Beast, who has been working with the Coalition since his rescue, once again allied with Invincible, Nolan Grayson, Alan the Alien, Tech Jacket, and many other heroes, united before the final Viltrumite war, now arriving at the doorstep of planet Viltrum. The Coalition then decides to approach the planet without a spaceship, aiming to remain undetected. As they draw near, Thaddeus explains the significance of the Viltrumite homeworld and why it may have been chosen as the staging ground for their final defense. As the team nears the ring surrounding the planet, composed of the corpses of scourge-infected Viltrumites, they are suddenly ambushed by a lone Viltrumite hiding among the dead. Before she can strike again, the ever-battle-hungry Battle Beast smashes her with his club and seizes her by the head, holding her attention and allowing the rest of the team to advance with their mission. Just then, Grand Regent Thragg arrives alongside the rest of the Viltrumite army, triggering a brutal battle with the Coalition, to the delight of Battle Beast. Thaddeus unveils a plan to use a space blaster to destroy the Viltrumite homeworld, a move that enrages Thragg. Overcome with fury, Thragg sheds a tear before tearing off Thaddeus's head. He then engages in fierce combat with Nolan and Invincible. At last, Battle Beast, who had long awaited a worthy opponent, lunges at Thragg, only to have his neck snapped with one hand and his body hurled aside, utterly outmatched by the Grand Regent of the Viltrumite Empire. But this isn't the last encounter Battle Beast would have with Thragg. In issue number 106, we see Battle Beast on a distant planet where the inhabitants are being oppressed. After ruthlessly slaying their oppressors, he is approached by Space Racer, ready to escort him off-world. We then find Battle Beast back at the Coalition of Planets' homeworld, summoned by Alan the Alien. Alan tells him he's going to be very pleased with the news he has to share. He explains how a Viltrumite moves through space and how to track them using their unique travel patterns to pinpoint which planet they would stop at. When Battle Beast questions the reason behind this information, Alan reveals that he has tracked Grand Regent Thragg to a specific planet and he wants Battle Beast to kill him. The prospect amuses Battle Beast as he realizes he is finally being offered what he desires most, a battle with a truly worthy opponent. Later on, Battle Beast lands on the planet where Thragg is believed to be hiding, coldly declaring that he was sent to kill him. Thragg remains calm, recalling their previous encounter where he easily defeated Battle Beast. But Battle Beast dismisses that outcome, calling it an unfinished contest and saying Thragg would be a fool to claim victory. Before they clash, Thragg offers Battle Beast an alliance, promising endless battles if he joins him. Battle Beast admits he craves glorious combat and death, but adds that doesn't mean he lacks honor. Just as the duel is about to begin, Ragnars, ferocious creatures sent by Battle Beast's ally, descend to attack Thragg. Infuriated by the interference, Battle Beast feels betrayed, as he wanted to fight Thragg alone. The two reluctantly fight side by side, dispatching the Ragnars together. During the battle, Thragg is wounded, which enrages Battle Beast further. The injury, to him, cheapens the fight, robbing it of its meaning. To level the field, and to Thragg's surprise, Battle Beast slashes open his own gut, deliberately injuring himself. Thragg, annoyed by this bizarre display, accuses him of treating battle like a game. Battle Beast responds that he does not see it as a game, as it is his life. What followed was the most ferocious and brutal battle in the entire Invincible universe. An earth-shattering clash between the two most savage warriors alive. One fought for the glory of battle, the other for the survival of his people. Their war raged for days, tearing through mountains, oceans, and skies, shaking the very foundations of the planet beneath them. Blow after blow, wound after wound, neither yielded, until at last Thragg, bloodied but standing, struck the final blow. As he looked down at his fallen foe, he uttered coldly, "It is done." And so Battle Beast fell, not in shame nor in defeat, but in fulfillment. His life was a blade forged for the glory of combat, and in his final breath he tasted what he had long hungered for, a fight worthy of his legend.